guys, welcome back to Drive for History. We're back at Wheels Through Time on the Hillclimb Hill. It's week 4. We're highlighting 45 cubic inch machines, road models, and a couple racing bikes also. Today we're by the Hillclimb exhibit talking about this ultra cool 1948 Harley Davidson WR Hillclimber. Now, most of the machines here on the hill are factory built specials, like we say, 1 of 1s, 1 of 5s, serial number 1s, prototypes, guys like you and me, we couldn't even get bikes like most of these on the hill. So factory employed riders, best of the best. Now, the American hill climb competition scene, plenty more than just professional riders. So I actually had a whole class B for amateur riders. On top of that, tons of guys in some of the big heavyweight classes building homebrew machines, starting with Harley Davidson components and making kind of their perfect machine. Remember, anytime you're racing, it's really about build to suit. So every bike is a little bit different. They're designed to fit the racers. Different racers like different things. So this ultra cool 1948 WR, it all starts around Harley Davidson's 45 cubic inch power plant. Now in 1941, Harley Davidson debuted the WR. They'd make them through 1952. In 48 or so, in 1948, they made probably 200, 250 WR racing bikes. Now, most of those bikes were for flat track and TT type of racing. Hill climb, just a few factory WR hill climbers produced. Again, most guys would take that WR power plant and build their own type of homebrew machine. So as far as factory hill climb stuff, the WR right in front of us, this is one of my favorite bikes in the museum. This was Sam Arena's National Championship WR hill climber. Ultra cool bike. It was restored here at the museum about 15, 18 years ago. Dale acquired this bike from Leonard Andres. Leonard Andres was the Harley Davidson dealer in San Diego. So ultra cool piece, national championship bike. You can see Sam Arena climbing the hill right there. So one of the neat things about the factory hill climb jobs for the 45s is as late as this motor is, 1946, 47, they actually use the 1920s and 30s single cylinder and 45 cubic inch transmission. So really, really cool piece of work. Again, this one's 45 cubic inches, standard frame, single cylinder type of lightweight front end, really lightened up and purpose built to climb hills. So now back to the homebrew hill climber. This machine has such cool character. Actually, when I was a kid, my dad used to race this thing at the King City Dirt Riders Club in Mount Vernon, Illinois. I watched him hill climb the bike a dozen times or more. Really neat. One time I remember we were there, and on this, at the time, Jesus, probably early 1990s, so 50-year-old motorcycle, I think he got the 3rd or 4th fastest time the whole weekend. So really neat piece. But WR engine, 1948, and then one of the really, really trick setups of this bike is the frame. Now, like over on the Sam Arena bike there, standard Harley frame, single down tube. It's got the crossover drive, so you've got the front primary chain on the left side, rear chain on the right side. What a lot of the guys that were making big power used to do in the Harley Davidson factory was real quick on it right from the beginning, was to maintain that inline drive on the big power stuff. So they've specially built this frame, cradle double down tube setup. It's got a raised transmission. They use a Harley Davidson JD, or what more accurately, it would be a Harley Davidson FHAC racing transmission. So this is a single speed unit. It's got the big heavy duty clutch, extra screws, big sprocket in back, and then it's got the overlay sprocket welded onto the WR rear hub. So really cool setup, double backbone tube. If you look at this, you want to talk sketchy, guys. They've stick welded the neck onto this frame. So use a little Indian Prince lightweight, like 30 cubic inch, 500cc front end from an Indian lightweight. Real small travel, just a small front brake. It looks like it's probably a British front brake. No rear brake whatsoever. So brakes, again, guys, you've heard me say it before, brakes, they just slow you down. So oil on the right side, gas on the left. It probably holds less than a half of a gallon, maybe even maybe a quarter of a gallon. So there ain't much there. Now, one of the things about this bike that you notice compared to our Sam Arena machine over here is that they've decked almost every fin off of the motor. So you've got no fins on the heads whatsoever. Here in a second, when we fire the bike up again, we'll show you the other side of the motor. All the fins have been cut off the barrels. Pretty standard of alcohol burner machines. So thing about running gas is the motors heat up pretty quick. Running alcohol, really, if you have all this metal here to displace the heat, the motor will never actually have a chance to warm up. So they cut the fins down, fire the bike up running the alcohol, it'll actually warm up quite a bit quicker, if at all, where with the fins, actually, if you're running a bike like this on alcohol and you got big, tall aluminum fins, those fins will actually ice up and they'll be cool to the touch. So again, a warm motor's a happy motor. So 1948 WR, they actually didn't come out with this cam cover until I believe 1950. Now, what we call this the peekaboo cam cover. Now, traditionally, your WRs or all your early WRs had a real similar cam cover to the Harley 45 or the WL Street model. The peekaboo cover was a racing cover only, and what it allowed you to do, now keep in mind you got a front mount Wyco racing magneto that's mounted in the front of the engine. You got 4 cams on a 45, an idler gear, and then the magneto gear. What the peekaboo cover allows you to do when you remove this pipe, there's 3 screws that actually allow you to take off just the front part of this cover and adjust the timing there. So gets a little hectic when you got big heavy valve spring tension and you're pulling a cam cover off, you're tweaking your cams, it's not good on the bushing. At no point are all valves all lifters free of valve spring tension. So at one point you're always going to be creaking 1 valve or possibly even 2. The beauty of the peekaboo cover is you can actually remove that front timing cover, adjust your timing without disturbing any of what's inside your engine or inside your cam chest. So incredibly cool bike. It makes amazing sound. 750cc, again, 45 cubic inch job. Hopping over on the other side, Steve, you can kind of get a glimpse. This is kind of the business side of one of these machines. Again, 45 cubic inch job. I was talking about the fins. All the fins have been shaved. This thing is lighter than a standard engine, probably not by much, but again, the reason that they shaved those fins wasn't for weight, it was for allowing the engine to warm up. MR4 racing carburetor, ultra rare racing carburetor, no choke plate. Now it's got this cool little stomper clutch over here. Again, you're in 1-speed box, so you just put your foot on the clutch, have your tuner there, pop you in gear over on this side, and then you're off to the races. So exposed primary. Traditionally, you've got a real tiny, small double row sprocket on the clutch and the motor sprocket on the 45s. Single row, big heavy duty setup here with 530 chain. And again, got that rear inline drive. It's weird and odd to see a 45 with that rear drive setup on the left side there, inline drive. So it's a bit reminiscent. If you guys tuned into Drive for History last summer, you saw the Charlie Jacobs national champion RH Hillclimber, the blue and white one. That was a factory frame very similar to this. So it's really pretty probable that the builder of this frame kind of had knowledge of how the factory was doing it back then and did his best to impersonate it and possibly even improve on it a little bit. Left-hand throttle, and again, single speed, geared to go. We're gonna fire this thing up and make some good noise, guys. What a powerhouse. Super cool. 1948 WR Hillclimber homebrew job on the hill here at Wheels Through Time. Make sure you guys are tuning in to Drive for History throughout the winter and the spring. We're going to be bringing you guys all sorts of great content. More Harley Davidson 45s coming up this week. Make sure you check out wheelsthroughtime.com. Help fuel us, the museum that runs. Remember, we wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Thanks a ton. We'll see you next time.